Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Griffs Pod. I'm Noah Hammond here with AD Jesse Bowser. Today's a special one. This is the first teacher / member of the college we have today, with it being Big Jess, a big AD, great guy. Jess, you got to tell me a little bit about yourself, where you came up from. Tell me a little bit about where you went to college and what sports you played.
Thanks for having me, Noah. My name is Jesse Bowser. I am just a guy from the Northeast Philadelphia area, Fox Chase. Shout out Fox Chase, Elizabeth Deal, Fox Chase person here. I think maybe Bridget from the soccer team might also be from Fox Chase. But anyway, I grew up in a little row home playing all different sports all day long with all my boys. Went to high school in Jenkintown, Abington Friends, played soccer, basketball, and baseball. Went to college at Philadelphia Textile, which then went to Philadelphia University and is now Jefferson University. I know it's really hard to hear for some people, but I had a great 5 years at Textile playing basketball and baseball. I walked on both teams. The basketball team I walked on and pretty much sat the bench until my junior year. And then baseball I started since my freshman year. I had great time there. I studied psychology. Didn't really know what I wanted to do. When I graduated, I got into criminal justice. I was a juvenile probation officer in the city of Philadelphia. Did that for about 9 years while I was coaching. Went to a couple different master's programs. I really struggled to figure out what I wanted to do, even though sports was always my life. Everything I did, I was always thinking about going to the next game or how I can get involved. So it was really cool to be able to start coaching in college. And then actually in about December of 2002, I decided I was probably just going to go back to school, become a high school teacher, and coach at the high school level. And I got a phone call that they were starting men's basketball. They were going co-ed at Chestnut Hill College, and men's basketball was going to be one of the programs I should apply. So I did and got the job. And it's been ever since 2003, started the men's basketball program. Got some great advice when I first started to not try to win right away, but make sure I'm getting good character kids. I had a lot of really good mentors, which was the best advice I ever got because we built with really good kids and this was a great school for it. And so, we had a lot of success early on. The school went Division II 4 years later. I was able to get on campus. And like I said, I was a juvenile probation officer working with sex offenders and mental health clients for 9 years in the toughest part of Philly, Kensington. So to come here every day and just deal with people that are trying to make their lives better has been a great transition. When I recruit kids, I talk to them all the time about making sure that you're picking a school for your major and not for the sports, because that's what I did. I went to Textile because I could play 2 sports there, and I took psychology. But this is where I belong. I love sports. I love athletes. I love watching kids grow, and I love the lessons that you learn kind of while you're playing sports through your teammates, through your coaches. That's pretty much the quick version of where I came from.
The background.
Yep.
Yeah, that's good. I really like the juvenile part you said when you were in Kensington and stuff like that because, I'm trying to become a gym teacher and stuff like that and be a coach and stuff. And I didn't really realize until I went to my first camp and helped out that I liked working with kids and I liked teaching them how to play sports and stuff like that. So when you wanted to get into sports, was that a helping factor? Was being a probation officer and being around kids and loving sports always? Was that helping?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I love to just try to help people get better. And when I was a juvenile probation officer, I really loved it early on. The first 5 years were great. A lot of good relationships. I saw a lot of kids that were in a lot of trouble start to turn their lives around, and I felt like I was making a mark. But then when I would go and coach, it was just a whole different thing. You had kids that were trying to get better at sport. I mean, it's life and then it's sport, and then it's kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
So I didn't realize how much I was going to love coaching until I got into it, because as an athlete, I was such a competitive person that I can remember being a junior in college and not having any interest in coaching because I didn't think it would be the same coaching as it was competing. But I found out early, I still got the butterflies in the morning. We had games even when I was coaching high school. I was coaching a high school basketball team at Lower Moreland High School in a little suburb in Huntington Valley. And we didn't have a whole lot of talent, but the kids competed, and I got the bug real quick. And then when a position opened up at Philly U, which was my alma mater, I decided to take that jump, and it was cool. But yeah, at the end of the day, whether it's probation, coaching, teaching, or whatever you're doing, if you're making an impact on kids as they're trying to figure out what they want to do in their lives, to me, that's what it's all about.
I love that. That's great. No, that's a great answer. I love that. Let's talk about the AD part. How did that happen? So you were a coach here for a while. How did that AD job, did it just like open up and they asked you to take it, or were you looking to take that job?
Well, that's a really great question, and it's kind of wild how it happened. When I got here full time in 2008, the athletic director at the time, Bill Stiles, was my boss, and he created a position for me because there weren't that many people in the athletic department at the time. I did a little bit of everything. I was washing uniforms, ordering uniforms, kind of literally touching every aspect of the job. He left about a year and a half after I got here, and I applied for the job thinking that I actually was ready to go. I didn't get it, and it kind of made me upset because I was like, man, like I know how to do this job. This isn't that hard. It's just athletics. But Lynn Tubman came in. She's now the athletic director at Muhlenberg, and when she came in, she basically pulled me in and said, hey, I know that you went for the job too. You know, I can help you in this realm if this is something that you want to get into. Even though I loved coaching basketball, I coached the basketball team and I was also coaching the golf team at the time. I kind of felt like administration was where I wanted to go. I kind of liked being around everything. At the same time, I was really struggling with like, do I want to give up this basketball program? So as fate would have it, Lynn kind of took me under her wing, really showed me the ropes over the next 9 years. And then when she went on to Muhlenberg, it was easy. It was an easy decision. I struggled at first with if I wanted to get out of coaching. But my high school coach, Steve Chadwin at Abington Friends, told me at the time, like, you know, if you become an athletic director, you're basically a coach of all the teams. Like now they're all your teams. Yeah. And that was really exciting to me because I do love all the teams. So even though I miss building my own team and being the basketball coach and having like my guys that I form and develop, you know, it's really amazing to be able to kind of do it with all the different programs. And like, I really do love all the sports. So like now my job is to make sure everyone has what they need, make sure everyone's getting developed. And although I'm not like actually a part of actually developing them on a daily basis, I feel like I'm making some kind of imprint by just being around and showing them how things are done.
No, for sure. I mean, I see you at all the games. I mean, you're always around. You're always in the hallways talking to all the athletes. I mean, from golf to lacrosse to basketball, you're talking to everyone. So, I mean, everyone knows you. So you definitely have an impact here that is more than others. I really like the AD job, like how you got it and everything. Now, to like regular people, they just think you're an athletic director. You just show up to the game stuff. What's the behind the scenes stuff that you guys have to do? Like, what's the difference between being a coach and then taking that step up there?
Yeah, that's a great question too. I mean, you know, being an athletic director does not do everything. Like the people underneath the athletic director do a lot as well. I mean, Denise Wisniewski is a huge piece of everything that goes on here. Francine Roseman is a huge piece of everything that goes around here. All the coaches do everything that they do is a huge part of how things are successful. As the athletic director, you're kind of making sure everything is going smoothly. You're listening to how things can get better and trying to see if you can make an imprint. You're working with administration to make sure that the athletes are getting everything that they need to have a good student-athlete experience. I feel like as the associate AD, which is now what Denise does, when I was the associate AD for Lynn, there's a lot more like behind the scenes things that you're making sure go on. I mean, I think the athletes feel like they show up to the courts, show up to their fields and just play. And I always felt the same way. But there's got to be referees. There's got to be transportation. There's got to be food before and after the game. There's got to be, you know, all those kind of things that as the athletic director just kind of make sure that stuff is getting done. I'd make it my business to really get to know all the kids so I can kind of make sure that there's not things going on that they might need to talk to somebody about, that they might need to vent. You know what I mean? Like I get it. Like nothing's perfect.
You just had a great pickup and you got Jordy last year. Amazing. Yeah. I've been to her. I know a couple people have been to her. She's a great mental coach. I mean, really helping out sports, physical, emotional, all the sides. That was a great pickup. How was that like conversed? How did you guys pick that up?
So that was, again, my whole my whole goal is to make sure the student athletes have a great experience. I understand how hard it is to be a student athlete. I understand how hard it is to be that age. I have kids that are that age now.
Yeah.
I watch them go through mental struggles. I see on TV all the time the NCAA talks so much about mental health, and it's the big buzzword. So a couple years ago it was the big buzzword, but when you look around, there's no one to help with that. And you know, we have a great counseling center here with Sister Sheila and Dr. Lisa. But there are only a few. I think there's 3 of them up there. That's not enough. We have over 300 athletes, and I thought it was really important that we address this. So I did a little poll in the conference to see if anybody had a mental health counselor in their department. Post University was the only one that had it. A lot of the ADs were like, you know, I'm sure you need other positions more than you would need that, but I felt like it was really important to address the elephant in the room, which is that like kids have a lot of struggles, and I think that coming out of the pandemic, it was even more because there were a lot of kids that were sitting around on their phones, on their computers, not knowing if they're going to play sports again. And so coming back to school and having to socialize and talk to teachers again and even go among their peers, I filed a grant through the NCAA, a Strategic Alliance matching grant where you can put in for a position. I borrowed Post's kind of model, although ours is a little different, and you know we put it for it. And those interviews was the best group of interviews that I did probably for any position, just because there were a lot of young therapists out there that are looking to get into this. And to a person, they were all so excited about this position because they said, this is exactly what I want to do, and no one has it. So that right there, I mean, anyone that's been here long enough knows that we are not usually the first to the party, for many things. But to be the first to the party really in this area and have a mental health counselor, and you know, again, a phenomenal group of applicants, and I feel like we got the person that fits who we are, what we want to do, and I've watched her over the last year and a half change some kids' lives.
Oh, no, for sure.
Obviously, you don't know I don't know everyone that's going in, but you know, I've referred kids to them. I've seen people go in, and then I just notice how different they are as the year moves along. And I you know, it's not for everybody.
No,
you know, some people do not believe in it. Some people don't agree with it, and that's totally fine. But I think that there needs to be a place for kids and adults to go to somebody and just kind of dump all the stress, all the anxiety that they're feeling. And what people don't realize is like when you do that, you're letting that go, and you're not holding on to it. And holding on to it is what causes a lot of that anxiety, which causes, you know, you can perform better with a more clear mind. You're a better friend. You're a better boyfriend. You're a better girlfriend.
Great example of that. My first day, so last year we were on a tough streak. The first 3 games, we lost the first 3 games. I had only had a goal in each game, so I was really upset about how I was playing. Had a lot of stuff going through my head. The first day I met with Jordy, the day before Malloy, we came out after that and we spanked Malloy. I had 7 goals. I was feeling way better. And not saying that she changed that, but just one day of getting all of that stuff out, that built up energy, that built up stress, everything out, you could tell that helps just the body. Like it helps the body just relax a little bit. I mean, it's just like having someone to talk to. Not everyone has, like I'm from New York. We got people from Texas, California here, everything. You can't just go in your brother's room anymore and talk to him. Your sister's room, go talk to him. Your mom's room, go talk to him. You got to have someone here that can help. So I'm very thankful for you for getting her, and she's done a great job, and I'm loving it here on campus.
Yeah, in this day and age, like with social media, it's so hard to really feel good about yourself because if you're going on TikTok and Instagram and all you're seeing is everyone having a great life, even though that's not what's going on. But you get caught up in that. You start looking, and everybody's doing better than I am, and it's hard. And we're human beings. So I think that adding her to the staff has been major for us. And there are other ADs in our league that have asked me about the position because I think the word is getting out that this is something that kids need.
Yeah, for sure.
So, yeah.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about Chestnut Hill sports. So we're in fall right now. We got winter basketball coming up. Volleyball is doing great. How is it being like around sports all the time? Like how do you try to maintain having so many sports at one time? Like talking to everyone, being at every game. Like what's that like?
The hardest part for me is doing the best I can to kind of satisfy everybody, because I really want, I don't ever want any athletes to feel like he doesn't care about this program. And I know there are probably some that think that. Couldn't be further from the truth. I just do my best to try to make it to a little bit of everyone's. Obviously, there's some that you get to see more often. There are games that are a lot closer, a lot easier to get to. But for me, it's just to make sure, like, I kind of know all the athletes, know what they play, get to know them a little bit as much as I can. And then really, I go and watch them compete. I'm looking for just kids that are learning, man. I really, it's hard to explain, but I never feel like I never feel overworked.
Yeah.
I just, like, for instance, this past Saturday, we had 5 games, all home games.
Yeah, the Griffin Fest.
Yeah,
was a
Griffin
huge
Fest,
thing.
which was a great event. And I got the volleyball, women's tennis, men's soccer, women's soccer, and football games. Watched everyone compete. Everyone played so well. But I worked from 9 in the morning to 10 at night. But I didn't feel like I was working. I was out watching my teams compete, seeing kids do things that were great, watch some tough things happen. But overall, like, I don't know how I could complain. Like, there's people that are really, really working hard to make ends meet. And I have the blessing of coming to watch college sports and seeing our teams compete. So I never complain about my job.
Oh, that's fantastic. I love that.
Yeah.
All right, for the last question of the day. So I've been asking this recently, the past 2 podcasts. So now we have Starbucks on campus.
Yeah.
For breakfast, do you like the cafe or do you like Starbucks better?
I go to the CAF.
Go to the cafe?
I go to the CAF because I like a little mix of their eggs and their bacon.
The buffet,
and
man.
The buffet.
You get everything.
You get a
you
little
need.
bit more, yeah. And you can get
Exactly.
some eggs to order. There was a woman, God rest her soul, Miss Nancy, that she passed away a couple of years ago, but she was in the cafeteria for probably my first 15 years here, and all the athletes loved her.
Yeah.
She was amazing, and so everyone was always rushing in there for breakfast to get her omelets, and Miss Nancy was the best. But yeah, I mean, the Starbucks thing, I'm not big on like grab and go. I'd rather like get something nice right there
in front of you.
Yeah, I'm a cafeteria guy.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for coming on.
Appreciate you, Noah.
Thank you everyone for watching. We'll come back next week with another episode. I'll see you guys later.